How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today, I'm going to talk about the Tesla Cybertruck event. This video is sponsored by SoFi, and you guys know I like to churn investment accounts, and this is a really good opportunity over here because if you open up an account, put $1,000 in, you're going to be able to choose $100 value worth of your favorite stock. Let me remind you guys that this is a guaranteed value here. If you sign up, you will get $100. So after you sign up, you might wonder, how long does it take? Maybe it's going to take like 3 months or something. It only takes about 10 days after you fund your account. So check out my referral link down in the video description below. Now let's move on to this Tesla Cybertruck event. So I thought right when they brought the truck out and I first saw the image of it, listen to the crowd carefully for the next minute or so. To me, it sounds a bit perplexed, a little bit confused, and they don't really know what to say. And I mean, they cheer anyway, it seems.
Doesn't look like anything else. So we'll start off with the size, the dimensions, and the inspiration. So the functionality I'm going to describe is within a space that is less than the most popular pickup truck in the United States, the F-150.
You can kind of hear like the crowd was just really shocked and they have no words for it. They're just kind of semi-silent. So it was definitely a really bad sign. When they do these unveilings, they can kind of get like a market temperature type of thing. My feeling is without really knowing what everyone's thinking, just based on how people are reacting during the presentation, I really feel like this car might not do very well. Of course, I am no billionaire. I do not know that much about aesthetics of cars even, but this is just based on my gut feeling really that I feel like even if they go to production with this car, it might have low sales. Of course, I might have to eat my words because I've been wrong before, but I feel like this is a reasonable assumption given, you know, kind of like the audience. It kind of felt like they were gasping. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's like this. But, you know, sometimes when you see some of the vlogs, right, people are super Tesla fans. So then they might be a bit more forgiving for the car itself. For me, I might even be like very supportive of Tesla as well. Look at this thing. I even have a little plush steak that looks like a steak and also a Tesla sign. I 3D print stuff that has a Tesla logo over here. I buy Tesla stock. In fact, right now I own 100 shares of Tesla stock and I've gained a lot of value from buying and selling Tesla stock. So I am all for the long-term prospects of Tesla. I completely agree of its company mission where it's trying to accelerate the advent of electric cars. It just has like a really good feeling that it's trying to push towards the right way, less consumption of fossil fuels and stuff. I know behind my car, sometimes when I work on it and I turn it on, I have to breathe in some of that fumes. With that said, you kind of know my feelings for this company and Elon Musk and stuff. I'm just, you know, bullish for long term. But for this car, it's just not for me. Do I think some people will like it? Yeah, there's always going to be some people that goes, you know, oh, this is brand new, I'm going to like this and stuff. But I do feel like, you know, when they first brought it out, is that it looks too low a poly count. Too low. It's like if you're in a video game and you set the poly count, you know, you can go from 0 to 10, right? And they just set it at 1. It's like too low. Sometimes with these brand new cars, you have to be able to show that the car inside has advanced manufacturing capabilities. Underneath, they can do all kinds of fancy stuff, and only through these advanced manufacturing processes can they make this really unique angular shape. The way Cybertruck looks like to me is like there is some apocalypse, right? And then people do not have all the manufacturing capabilities, so then they try to hack together some kind of truck in their garage, and they have to go with very simple shapes because they don't have the machinery to make all these fancy shapes. So that's what it looks like, because their front windshield is just this flat piece of pane glass. Everything is very flat. It's almost like some guy, they can go in their garage and they weld together a very simplistic frame, and then they just attach these flat panels all over and turn it into a truck. So this is not exactly what you want it to look like, because aesthetics means a lot. People want something that is futuristic, not apocalyptic. Let me bring up a car of the Batmobile, because I think there's a pretty unanimous thinking that the Batmobile is really, really cool looking. I mean, it does have some things that might not be completely daily functional, I guess, because it has these two wheels right out in the front. It's kind of bulky. It can't hold a lot of stuff. Maybe it's really fast. But the thing is, it has a lot of shapes that makes it very unique. And you definitely won't call it low poly count, although it does have a lot of flat panels. It does have a lot more flat panels in very angular and interesting ways than the Cybertruck. So what does this look like to me? One panel in the front, because it's a continuous windshield with the front hood. There are 4 sides of the car. There's 2 flat surfaces per side. So this is probably too low. Like I said, for a poly count of 0 to 10, right? It seems like someone dialed it all the way to 1, and this is what the car would look like. I feel like slightly higher poly count would be more interesting. You don't want it so high a poly count where it looks like a Model S or 3, right? Because then that'll be all round. So this is kind of like where you want things to be a little weird, but not so weird that a lot of people don't want it, which is, I think, what it is right now. It is so weird that I feel like the amount of trucks that they're going to sell, it's going to be too low. I feel like the reservation is not going to be very high for this particular truck. Now, with that said, all the specs and stuff, it's just fine. Stainless steel exoskeleton and like super resistant glass, although they did fail in the presentation. I think that was a complete train wreck. The whole presentation was slightly up train wreck, I feel. And it almost seems like Elon Musk might be slightly off his game, because just a day ago, the SpaceX Starship blew up in one of its test fueling things or something. You can see it in some videos where, you know, the top blew off. So I feel like the cost of that blowing up, you know, they might anticipate it, but then it's still kind of costly to have that whole structure just kind of evaporate, right? So because of that, his game might be slightly off. I don't know. But then, you know, you can't really be off your game if the car itself, right? They've been developing this car. So it's not like just because of that single day that caused this event to be, you know, a little off. So with that said, that evening, I texted my friend. I'm saying, oh my gosh, that event is just a complete train wreck. And I was saying it's going to dip about 5% the next day. And if you look at the chart of Tesla today, it did dip about 5.7%, 6% or so. So I got lucky again in guessing that it would, in the short term, dip a little bit. I am a Tesla bull in the long term, but you know, when things happen like this, you know, I'm just being frank, being realistic with myself that something bad happened. The release of this style of truck, I think it's not a good idea. I think they should actually just pull the brakes on this design. Not the entire thing, of course. Everything inside is probably just fine. The computer system, everything. I just feel like they need to change the shape of it a little bit. Now here goes my rendering of what I think it should look like. Not that this is, you know, a completely perfect thing, right? I think it needs to be a little bit more angular. I think the more they can get it to look like a Batmobile, the better. You can see near the rear wheel well, it's not as angular as I want it to be based on the way I shaded all the colors, but I added a few more polygons, and you can see I got rid of the little angular thing in towards the back, because I think you sometimes might want to lay something flat on the truck bed just right on top of the recessed area. So you know, having like a little angular thing there keeps you from doing something like this. You can't carry, let's say, like a king size mattress or something, because, you know, it'll just be sloping down and you just got to tie it on somehow. I made it so that the glass panel doesn't, you know, just slope all the way through. I made it a little bit steeper. I made the back area less steep so that maybe you might have a little bit more headroom over there. The front and rear door panels have like 3 panels instead of just one single panel. So you can see, you just kind of dialed up the polygon count about from 1 to, let's say, 3.5 or 4 or so. Not that this is the exact way I think it should look. It could go a little bit more angular, a little bit more aggressive. You can see at the tip of the truck, it's pointy rather than just completely flat. Yeah, I think this whole thing just has to do with the aesthetics of the thing. I think people cannot accept one polygon count, but then when you increase the poly count, it's suddenly going to be cool because people go, oh, you can actually make it any shape you want, but you choose to make it polygon-like, right? Long time ago, when the manufacturing techniques aren't as refined, they had to make it flat. It's just they had no choice because, it's cheaper to make it that way. But these days, advanced manufacturing technologies, they can stamp metal and then they just make it into these contour shapes and stuff. So they need to do something with the panel so that it is also contour rather than just one single pane, one really large pane. They just gotta make it so that it has like 3 or 4 panes rather than each one of them that they have. So they have the air hydraulic suspension system. That's really cool. So I have nothing against any technology that's inside. This whole discussion is about the aesthetics of this thing. So why did I think that the Tesla stock was going to dip 5%? And I turned out to be right. They had to spend a certain amount to make this design. They have to make this prototype. So if you assume that this is a wash, right? Just the aesthetics of the thing is a wash. It means they lost some money in the design of this thing, in the prototype of this thing. So this is why I think the minus 5% in valuation in the market cap is justified. This is only a temporary thing, of course, and it might actually get worse if they just try to push through with this. But I think if they modify the design, just have a reboot or something, just go Cybertruck event number 2, right? Because once they reveal it, if you compare when Tesla revealed the Model S and the Model 3 or whatever model, right? In the conventional kind of roundish looking type of shape, people were cheering, right when they see it, they're like, oh my God, yeah. But then when they saw the Cybertruck, it's just like silent, right?
Doesn't look like anything else.
There's a lot to be said about taking a sampling of the audience, because the audience there is going to be the consumer, the eventual consumer of this truck. I have to draw a parallel to being a YouTuber here because it has a similar type of dynamic, I feel, although, I'm not working for Tesla or anything. I feel like sometimes when I make a mistake on a video, the audience will say something and then you can kind of get feedback and then, do a better job. So this is a case where I feel like Tesla should just go, yeah, we see the market condition. We see that, maybe people, aren't really gung-ho about this particular look of it. So they're going to go back to the drawing board and then do a re-release. Do I know that it's definitely not going to be popular? I don't know this. This is just right after the event. This is what I'm guessing. So I could be very wrong about this. I'm going to leave this video up and, people are going to laugh at me maybe later on, maybe a year later when this truck is very popular and it sells hotter than any other car ever. It may be better than Model 3. So this is just my personal feeling on this. And I really hope Tesla does well. I'm all for Tesla. I don't know how impartial it is because I am kind of saying bad things about this release. And yet I am a shareholder. I hold 100 shares of Tesla right now. In fact, right before this event, I held 150 shares. Just today, I sold 50 shares due to this Tesla truck because of the short-term prospects. I think it might take a few more hits because they might just not do anything about it. They might just keep on going and go, hey, we're going to bring this to production. And I think that might be a bad idea. Thank you for watching, everybody. This is kind of like an emergency video and it's time sensitive. So I plan to release this video today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out my SoFi referral link down in the video description below. Get your $100 when you deposit $1,000. Don't forget to give me a like, comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Cybertruck and if you're gonna buy one or not. And as always, don't forget to push that subscribe button and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.